My name is Liz Burke, and I'm joined by Andy Randazzo. He and I have been providing free marketing and PR webinars to help the business community and our individual networks during this challenging time. So let's dive right in and introduce ourselves and start with Andy.
Hey there, everyone. My name is Andy Randazzo. My company is Hit State Marketing, and we are a marketing firm, digital marketing specialists and brand marketing strategists.
And again, my name is Liz Burke. I have a dual background in broadcast journalism and public relations. I am currently an adjunct professor at Hofstra University in their Department of Communications. And I offer a suite of communication services and trainings through my business, Liz Burke Media. So before we get into today's webinar, a website workout, let's talk about our upcoming workshops. And again, they're all free. On August 27th, Power Your PR. Everything you need to know about public relations and ways to make it work to promote your company or your personal brand. Then on September 17th, Boss Up Your Brand. How to build a better brand and set yourself apart from your competitors. And the bottom line is, it's much more than a logo. October 8th, How to Shoot Like a Pro. Tips on how to shoot great video with your smartphone. And October 29th, extra, read all about it. We will discuss how to get your brand in the news. Now, the webinar on August 27th, Power Your PR, will be an overview of public relations, but extra will be specifically focusing on securing press placements, again on October 29th. So for today's webinar, a website workout, we will talk about why your business needs a website. Then talk about the three main components of a website: design, functionality, and content, and the various website creation platforms that will help you build a site, and our top 10 website must-haves for 2020. Now, we do ask for the Q&A that during the webinar, you please type your questions in the Q&A box below, and at the end of the webinar, we will answer those questions verbally. We love questions, bring them on, so all through the webinar, just type them in, and we'll get to them at the end.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right. Why your business needs a website. So there are differing opinions here. Some people say, well, if you're just on social media, that's enough to promote your brand. But we disagree. We think that every business needs a website. You need that online home base to attract new customers, generate revenue, and I'm sure you've been in situations where you're looking for a certain website and you find out that a certain brand or a company doesn't even have a website. Automatically, the company loses credibility there. You want to have a website to add credibility to your business, improve customer relations, and obviously we know every day we're all searching on Google for different items, different companies, different businesses, different things we want to purchase. You want to have that online home base, and your website is your own. It's always available, and it really provides an opportunity to generate more traffic and in turn generate more return on investment. We also think it's important to put your website address everywhere. Put it on your business card, obviously. Put it at the bottom of your email, in your email signature. Put that URL wherever you can, in your collateral, etc., and make sure that it's a website address that's simple, not too complicated, and not too long.
Right, so it's crazy to think that there are some people out there, some businesses out there that don't have a website in 2020. It's crazy, but I know of some businesses that don't have a website or they're building it while they're getting customers, which sounds really crazy. But if you really think about it, all roads lead to your website online. All roads lead to your website. So if you have, if you put out some sort of digital campaign on, let's say, social media, it leads to your website. Where else would it lead? It wouldn't lead to their platform. It leads to your website. It also, when you're sending out emails, where do those lead? When you click through, where do they lead? They lead to your website. So website is absolutely imperative.
Now, looking at the three main components of a website, let's start with design, which is the overall look and feel. If you have a website already, take a good look at it. Does the imagery, does the theme match your business and your audience? The website of a law firm will look very different from the website of a retail store, a shoe store, for example. So do you want to go with that sophisticated look that will really match with what your audience likes and dislikes? Or do you want a vibrant look, a modern look, a bold look? Really think about the look and feel, and you should know your customers and you should know their likes and dislikes, and you want to match your website accordingly. Obviously, you want to look at adding an attractive color scheme, something that pops, something that gets attention, and use a consistent theme throughout. So the branding, the look that you have on the home page, that should match on your sub pages, on your landing pages. And Andy and I also feel that photos of people resonate better than other types of photos. Even if they are stock photos, we think that people viewing other people really enhances the look and gets more people to engage with the website.
Yeah,
Another, yeah, go ahead.
absolutely. It's so funny that there are so many companies out there. When you go to the about them, it's just words about the company. It doesn't show like heads, owners, and other people that work there, which is pretty crazy. But have pictures of yourself, of your team on your website is incredibly important.
Yes, and ensure that the website is responsive. And what we mean by that is that the website looks the same and can be read on various devices. So it looks the same when you look at it on your mobile phone, when you look at it on a laptop, on a desktop, and test it. So you have, let's say a marketing company says to you, oh, we made your website mobile responsive. Don't take their word for it. Go on your cell phone, go on your smartphone, and take a look at your website and see how it looks from a mobile phone, and make sure that it's mobile responsive. See it for yourself. In keeping with design, overall look and feel, what is most important now is the section that is above the fold. That is really what you want to focus on. Most statistics show that compared to social media where you're viewing up and down on a feed, on a website, it's not the same. A lot of people are not scrolling down. They're really staying on that above the fold section. So you want to make sure that pops. You want a good image, a good headline, which we see here is in the center. And the image here that's on the home page at the top, that's called your hero image. And you really want to make sure that that resonates with your audience and matches your products and or services. Imagery is huge. So in terms of a website, really this is not the time to be posting amateur organic photos that you would on social media, for example. On a website, they need to be of high quality, on brand, and you want to find a way to persuade your audience with your imagery. What kind of imagery would evoke some type of emotion from your customer that would bring them along that buyer's journey to eventually end in a purchase? And of course, target the customer. So in this case, we're looking at high-heeled boots, and this target audience wears boots a lot. They prefer high heels, so it's really targeted to the customer. Now, there are other options you can use in terms of imagery that still keeps it on that professional side. And some are free to use where you don't even have to attribute the source. So one of them is Unsplash. Andy and I use that all the time. Pexels, Pixabay. And even if you do a Google image search and pick the advanced section, make sure you choose usage rights and make sure you choose a safe search so that you don't lift other people's photos and you can use these photos safely. But all of these are free to use and they look really good, and you can find ones that will match with your industry or your business. Also, there's the paid version, the professional photography route, and Getty Images, which you can also pay for. Really, really nice photos. And we do recommend that when you are setting up a day or two with a professional photographer, that you get the most out of them. You want them to take a ton of photos of all different angles, of all different products and services, and make it so that they are evergreen, so that you can use these photos through different seasons of the year. Really get the most out of your professional photographer.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing like how many stock photography companies that are out there that are great stock photography. You know, you could we've built sites solely on using free stock photography. Obviously, outside of, when you're talking about the company and product, obviously you'll never see, your product on some of these free sites. But those are the times that you have to hire a professional and get the right photography for that product.
Now, functionality. I'm sure you've been in a situation where you're finding it hard to navigate through a website. Maybe you're not finding what you're looking for, or just the functionality of the website is really confusing. You want to make sure that your website is easy to navigate, that it is very simple, you don't want it cluttered, and you want a basic navigation bar. The navigation bar is at the top of your website, and it goes from left to right, and it offers different options such as About Us, Contact Us, Products and Services, and you don't want your navigation bar to be cluttered either. Very easy to read content. Don't make it confusing. Make it very easy and simple to read, and also fast loading pages, which Andy can speak to.
Yeah, having fast loading pages, images, a lot of times we see people put like larger images that will only be, an inch by an inch or 2 inches by 2 inches on the website, and they'll put in a full image. You have to size down those images before you put them onto the site. That's probably the thing that holds up websites the most. That, and when you add in video, not a video link, but just adding direct video into your site rather than using like something like YouTube when you just generate that link. So fast loading pages, incredibly important. There's a way that you can get them to download top down. Sometimes there are status bars where your page is loading. You want to get away from that and really use pages that load really fast. So make sure you optimize your images for the size that you're going to be using them.
Absolutely. Now, what really can help you with navigation is setting up a site map first. And this should be one of the first steps that you do before you dive into creating a website. Here's an example of one, a site map that starts with the home page at the top, and you can see that from the home page, that will branch off into integrations, jobs, and pricing. And then the jobs subpage will then branch off into agencies, culture, departments, and locations landing pages. By looking at this, you can really get a sense of the navigation, the structure of the website. You can change things around, and it's also a great way to make sure that you are including all of the topics and categories that you should be. And a sitemap can actually be found on a website as well, or it can just be for back-end preparation and planning. Now here's a look at the main website elements 1 through 8, starting with number 1, the logo and tagline. That is very important. Andy, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, the logo and tagline, it's funny. We've been building websites since the mid-90s, right? So we've had navigations that have been all over the place, side navigations, middle navigations, like a navigation bar that we're going to split the screen right in half. Right-hand side navigation, bottom. But you know what? People just like what they like, and they know what they want to see. So logo and tagline at the top left is the place where it usually goes. I would say, maybe like 85% of the websites out there probably use top left logo and top navigation. Sometimes it's a sticky header navigation, sometimes it's a scrolling one, but logo at the top left is ideal. Navigation bar, then you have your headline that comes in right after that, subheadlines that are kind of embedded in there somewhere. So when you look at this, just look at your website and look at other websites. Look at what you usually click on and how you click through, right? So, we used to put home buttons years ago, but you don't even need a home button because now everyone is used to clicking on the logo. Once you click on the logo, it takes you to the home page, right? And then, other things like having images above the fold is great to have, text, footer. A lot of times some websites do have a footer that is a sticky footer. We like footers that just are at the bottom. And a lot of times you do put your site map down at the bottom if anyone wants to see how you organize the site.
And I also think calls to action are really important, and they need to be prominent. So whether it be buy now,
Yep.
download our ebook, or sign up for our newsletter, you want to have several calls to action, and the buttons need to be prominent and in various different places on all of the landing pages.
Yep.
So looking at content, what's really important is SEO, and this has been critical for a while now. And there are two types. There is on-site SEO and off-site SEO. We'll get to off-site in a moment. But on-site SEO is optimizing elements on a website to rank higher on search engines. And one of the ways to do that is by including meta descriptions. We included an example here. Let's say someone is searching the term high heels in Google, and this is what pops up in their search engine results. There's a subheadline, the URL, and a snippet of information. That's your meta description, and that's really important in terms of SEO. Andy, I know that this is something that you really focus on when you are putting websites together.
Yeah, so meta description is really what's behind the scenes, right? What you're not seeing if you go to somebody's site. So you may not see where it says buy high heel shoes at Macy's. You may not see that. That could very well be in the meta description, right? And then there is the front facing content keywords that you put in. So it's really important to have the keywords that are relative to your business. Make sure you have that not only in the meta tag descriptions, but also on the page itself, because search engines like Google, they search everything and they want to see that those keywords are in there, but not keyword stuffing, because they don't like when you stuff the keywords. So if you were to say high heels like 28 times in a paragraph, it's they give you negative points for that when they're doing search results. So have stuff behind the scenes and have content in front where you're looking.
Right. And when Andy is saying behind the scenes, going into the back end of a website that is not public facing, where you can add these terms and these types of meta descriptions.
Right.
Also, in terms of on-site SEO, target keywords, which Andy just spoke about, and tagging every image. So every image that you have on your website should be tagged with text that matches that image. That will also help in terms of your SEO.
Yeah, and it's funny.
Yeah,
I know that that's really difficult to do, especially if a site was built without those keywords on those images. But tagging and putting in the keywords on those images is incredibly important, because Google's not only searching for text and the actual content, but they want to see the keywords that are associated with the images.
Right. So if the image is, let's say, a pair of brown boots, you want that text to match brown boots on the back end.
Yep.
Another important step in on-site SEO is updating your content on a regular basis. Google wants to see that you have fresh content, that you're updating, adding, and a great way to do that is through adding blogs. If you can add a weekly blog, a bi-weekly blog, even a monthly blog, at least you are generating new content on a regular basis, a good opportunity to include the right keywords, and that will help your SEO as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, either weekly or monthly, because again, when Google is searching for your site, they also want to see when was it updated? When was the last time, you wrote content for it? It cannot be a static page that it was maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It just can't be. It has to really keep up with the times and have, regular updated content, at the very least on a monthly basis through a blog.
That's right. So that was on-site SEO, now off-site SEO. And these are external activities to rank higher on search engines, things you can do that are separate from your website. And one of the main aspects, one of the main techniques is link building, arranging other sites to link back to your site. And in the marketing business, we call this SEO juice. So for example, let's say you have a fitness website and you happen to have a working relationship with a medical professional. The fitness website, your website, can include a link to the medical professional's website, and vice versa. So if a medical professional posts a blog, they can include a tip from you, a fitness tip, and then hyperlink to your website. So basically, you are sharing each other's website addresses, the URL, and that way the medical professionals following is seeing your link and vice versa. It's a little bit confusing to understand, but you really want to have these working relationships with other people in the industry and then expose each other's website addresses.
Right. So just think of it like a party. And I always use this analogy, but it's a really good one. Think of it as a party and you go to the party and Google is having a party, right? Now, if you go to the party and you start talking about yourself, yeah, that's great. It's good to know some of those things. But if other people are talking about you at the party, Google really wants to get to know you. Google wants to know you, right? So all these other off-page places, whether they're writing an article about you or whether they just have links about you and your product and or service, if they're talking about you, SEO search engines like Google find that more desirable, that other people, other businesses are talking about you. So having both on page and off page is incredibly important.
Absolutely. Sticking with content, when we look at the home page, this is really your opportunity to welcome online visitors. You want it to be appealing, you want it to be inviting, and make it very clear what your company is offering. Take a hard look at your homepage and make sure that those elements are included. And you also want to ensure that it guides visitors further into the website. And as we look at this example, it really shows exactly what the products are, what the offering is, real food meets real drinks. There is the call to action button, order now. It's very inviting. You really get the feeling that you want to eat there or order from there.
It makes me hungry for tacos. I love Chipotle.
It does. Me too. Sticking with the homepage, the headline, we touched on this earlier. 80% of visitors just read the headline before deciding if the website is worthy of their time. And that headline can change, especially if you're on the retail end and you're offering different discounts and promotions. You want that headline to change, let's say, on a weekly basis when you're offering the various promotions each week. And you want to make sure that that headline really captures the attention of the audience, that it's relevant and engaging and it supports the goals of the site. And it also prompts people to read even further into the website. You don't want them to bounce off the website right away, and make sure that it changes based on the different initiatives that you're running week to week or month to month. And this point we can't stress enough. How frustrating is it when you visit a website and the text is so small and you just can't read it and then you bounce off of it? You really want to include oversized text and elements. That's super important. Educate and inform, and less is more. You really want to have less clutter. White space is okay. You want to keep it really focused and not have it appear as a sales pitch. Your website should not be a sales pitch. Your website should really educate and inform and help people.
Yeah, and just look at it from a standpoint of where you want the customer to go. And where you want them to go should have the bigger headlines, the calls to action, maybe the beautiful imagery that you want them to click on. You know, you get to decide on where you want your customers to go.
Here's a list of website creation platforms. So creating a website takes a lot of time, a lot of work, and you do need to integrate with a website creation platform to execute this type of tactic. And the top ones are WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, GoDaddy, but we have the full list here that we think are really good ones if you want to venture into this opportunity. Andy, do you want to speak on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, we use WordPress a lot because, you know, we customize sites for clients. It just has more customization when we're building. But I have to say, you know, we've built probably about 5 different Squarespace sites for clients using their platform, using their themes. And they were clients that just said, you know what, we don't have any design capabilities on our end, so we need somebody to really design it. It's an open platform for you to put it together, but it does help to have a designer, somebody that is actually putting it together for you. So funny enough, Squarespace and Wix and GoDaddy website builder, you can do it yourself, but these companies decided it'd probably be best to have a professional come in and actually design it for you and with you.
And now our top 10 website must-haves. And we think this is essential for 2020. Number one, create a strategy and development plan. Before you do anything, before you even create the sitemap, the first thing you want to do is come up with a website strategy. What are the goals of the website? Who are you trying to market to? What is the target audience? There may be more than one audience. What are the expectations? Also look at the content. You have to come up with your messaging and approach and the resources, and also take a look at your traditional tactics. Is there content from your collateral, flyers, etc., that you could repurpose and institute into a new website? Then come up with your website plan and a schedule. This is where you want to develop your user experience. What is that going to look like? The structure, the timeline, and then go into the sitemap and production. What will the layout look like? Also, make sure that in your timeline you include time for any reviews, modifications, and final approvals. Putting together a website usually takes longer than you think. Then you want to make sure that you continue with this website. It's not set it and forget it. It is ongoing management, maintaining this website, making improvements, updates, looking at the analytics. How is my website performing? All of this is important because a website needs to be an evolving animal, really.
Yeah, and a lot of times people look at it as a printed out brochure where they just have one and that's it. This is something different. It has to be updated regularly. It has to be updated, weekly, if not monthly. Absolutely has to. And sticking to the plan, which is really important. Make sure you keep going back to the website, like Liz was saying. Make sure you see how it's working, how it's not working, and then fix it along the way.
Number two, fast page speed, and that is something we touched on earlier. Make sure that people don't have to wait a long time. I mean, the attention span is very limited, so you want to make sure that you have fast page speed where people can navigate through the site quickly. Also, an SSL certificate. Andy?
Yeah, the SSL certificate is really important, especially important probably about 3 years ago when Google said they're just not going to point people in the direction of websites that are unsecure for the safety of their own people that are searching sites. So if you have a website that doesn't have an SSL certificate, it just, not that it won't show you, but it'll put you down on the list. So an SSL certificate is incredibly important. I think they run about like $60 a year or $75 a year, depending on who you get it through.
And SEO number four, what we touched on earlier, that's really important. Make sure that you incorporate that into your website campaign and that you have it going on the back end and the front end. Number five, clear CTAs. These are your calls to action. Make sure you have those buttons like download now, shop now, contact now, and make sure they are prominent, people can see them, and that they are in several places on your website.
Yeah, we have at least one on every single page of our website to reach out to us, get in touch with us, fill out a form if you want to know more. All those things are really important.
Yes, keep opening up those opportunities. Number six, quality over quantity. Again, you want less clutter. More white space is fine. You really want to hone in on elements that are of quality and really capture the attention of your audience. Number seven, a unique look. What can you do to your website to make it stand out from your competitors' websites? Make sure that you have a good handle on your competitors' websites and what they are pushing, what they're promoting, what their look and feel are, and make sure that you can set yourself apart from that. Number eight, social media integration. Now in this visual, you see on the right-hand side towards the bottom, connect, and the social media icons are there. You want your social media icons in the footer which will then be displayed on every page of the website. Also included, not only in the footer, but in other places of your website, an email sign-up where people can subscribe to your newsletter for tips on different things that you offer within your industry or your company. Also, a privacy policy, and this is critical. This is something that must be included on a website. It informs website visitors of just how protected their personal information is when they visit your website.
Yeah, you can notice that when you go to a lot of websites now, and if you are dropping cookies for retargeting and marketing, they have to have that privacy policy, especially if they're loading cookies on your page or on your browser history, so that they can retarget you later. That's really important. You can see that comes up a lot, especially in the last like 3 years or so. I think there were laws that were passed about 3 years ago that if you are dropping cookies, you need to let people know.
Great.
So this is a lot, and again, we just kind of like touched the surface, but you know, it was a lot of good information. But again, if you want to reach out to Liz or I, we offer some free consultation. Reach out to us. Here's our info. Here's some of the things that we can talk about. Please reach out to us. Give us a call. Let us know how we can help.
Absolutely. And we have a couple of questions that have come in. The first question is regarding ADA compliance. I am hearing a lot about ADA compliance. Can you explain it, and do I need it?
So that's a great one, because I would say over the last couple of years, ADA compliance was a hot topic. A lot of people were getting sued. A lot of people were filing lawsuits. And there's a lot to it. You want it to be accessible to everybody, right? So you don't want to push anybody out, but there's a way that you can do that. Even just by visiting my site, hitstate.com, you can look at the bottom left-hand corner. There's a little icon for a site that you can load with a plugin, an ADA compliance, and it makes you completely and totally compliant. The company is called SaferWay, and you could just load it and it's totally for free, because we saw that a lot of people were getting sued, and we saw a lot of website developers scaring the heck out of clients by saying you need to be ADA compliant, and they did. And you know, they were charging them ridiculous amounts of money to redo their website and literally rebuilding their website. You know, I've heard of things where clients spent $30,000 to redo their website so that it was ADA compliance. You don't have to do that. It's a simple, easy plugin that you use, and it's by userway.org. So if you go to userway.org, that's a place where you can get the plugin, and it makes you ADA compliant.
Right, and that will help people with disabilities view your website and engage with your website. And the last question, how are people going to find my website?
Well, we kind of went over that. It was SEO. So SEO is the best way, and having it, you know, not just when you build the website and putting in the right keywords, but also having it updated on a regular basis with a blog. That's how people will find your website. Yes, you can have links to it on social media. You can have links to it, you know, on paid TV commercials or radio spots or any kind of collateral that you give out. But having SEO, if somebody's typing in, you know, high heel shoes, you want them to find you. How do they find you? Having good, updated, relative content with the right keywords in those articles on your website. That's the best way for people to find you online.
Great. So just to recap our upcoming workshops, Power Your PR on August 27th, Boss Up Your Brand on September 17th, How to Shoot Like a Pro October 8th,
That one's going to be fun.
Yes, that will be fun. I can't wait for that one. And Extra, read all about it on October 29th. And we want to thank you for joining us today. We hope that you found our webinar helpful. Have a great day.
Take care. Have a great day.